think you made a fork in the road. We were headed down a path of censorship and of control of narratives that is unprecedented. Forget about what they were able to do back when they had newspapers and the media under control. What they were doing with social media by suppressing information, and when you had a combined government effort, like with what they were doing with the laptop story. We have 51 former intelligence agents saying that this is Russian disinformation. Take it offline. And Twitter complied. If you didn't buy that, we wouldn't have known that. We had no idea.
Exactly. See, when they deplatformed the sitting president, not deplatformed Trump. That was just insane, and the things he was posting, like he was posting things that like he was posting good things. He was saying like, hey, do not riot, don't do any destruction of property, please stay calm. Like that's the kind of stuff he was posting. So I mean, the reason I did the Twitter acquisition was like, it's like, man, if I don't do this, I think we're screwed. Is the issue.
Well, if you didn't do it, no one else was going to do it because it wasn't a financial winner. It was kind of a crazy move.
It's a crazy move. I mean, and I think if Trump wins, we'll see, probably most of the boycott lift. But if Kamala wins, we'll see that boycott get stronger. And they'll friggin' shut down. There's no way that the sort of Kamala puppet regime would allow X to exist.
You really think that they'll be able to shut it down, though? Is there a pathway to that?
Yes. They can only do a small number of big lawsuits every year. Launched a giant lawsuit against SpaceX, saying that SpaceX discriminated against asylum seekers. And we're like, but it's illegal for us to hire anyone who's not a permanent resident. So we're in this, like, this is what I mean. It's like the Orwell situation is getting insane. Like, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. They decided SpaceX was the target. They just figured out the crime afterwards.
Which is so crazy because that's exactly what they're saying Trump is going to do if he gets into office.
They're doing all the things that they accused Trump of doing.
Yeah. Openly. Yeah. I
mean, the sheer number of hoaxes that the Democratic Party is pushing over and over again. And it's like, look, I understand like politicians are going to, exaggerate. They're going to misspeak, and they'll tell occasional, untruths, whatever. That's how it is in politics. But when you have deliberate, concerted, repeated pushing of hoaxes, you're like, wait a second, like, come on, man, this is too far.
And you're supposed to be the good guys.
You're supposed to, and you claim to be the good guys. I'm like, exactly.
You're supposed to be the progressives.
Yes, the Dems are like, oh, we're the good guys. We're the honest people. No, hang on. You can't claim to be the good guys. You can't claim to be the honest people if you're deliberately pushing hoaxes that have been debunked thoroughly.
Yeah. Well, not just
like even Snopes, which is a liberal thing, says it's bogus.
Yeah.
Like the Fine People hoax.
Obama just said that on stage.
Obama just said that. I was like, what the flying fuck?
He doesn't give a fuck. They're just
That's a flat out goddamn fucking lie.
Flat out lie.
Flat out fucking lie.
How about the other one where Kamala's campaign used what Trump was saying about protecting women and from illegal immigrants?
Thank you.
Remember that? What he was saying is, if the women like it or not, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
When he was saying that, they were trying to say that he was taking away women's right to choose whether women like it or not. Like, that's not what he was saying.
Absolutely.
He was literally talking about protecting them from dangerous people that are sneaking in through the border.
Yes, exactly. They'll take like not even a full sentence, like a half a sentence from Trump, and then they'll push it on every ad, every speaking event, every
and it gets
media.
repeated on the news.
Yes.
This is what's crazy. They'll talk about it on these news shows, news shows.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a recent one that came up, which had a lot of people, because a lot of people reached out to me. It was like, they're like, oh, Trump says he wants to execute Liz Cheney. I'm like, that is utter bullshit.
It's not what he said at all.
It's not what he said at all. All he said was like, what he's saying is that, look, if Liz Cheney actually had to fight at the front lines, she'd think twice about going to war. Exactly. That, like, it's easy to go to war. It's easy to be a warmonger if you don't have to, risk dying at the front lines. Like, basically it's fucked up if people are having like fancy dinners in Washington D.C. While people are being slaughtered in trenches. It's like you're not feeling the pain.
Exactly.
You're not taking the risk. It's someone else dying.
Exactly.
That's cruel and lacking in empathy. And all Trump was saying was that it's like Liz Cheney would be much less of a warmonger, because she's a huge warmonger, just like her dad, if she actually had to go to the front lines and fight herself.
He's saying she should be shot.
Yes, which is a total lie.
And
but I had like tons of people call me this weekend saying, "Oh, Trump says he's going to put Liz Cheney in a firing squad." I'm like, that is an outrageous lie. And the legacy media ran with that lie, big time. Like, basically, we want to send a message to the politicians to say that the people care about the Constitution, because there have been all these attacks on the Constitution. They've been, especially on the Democrat side, they've been repeatedly saying that the First Amendment is an obstacle. And they're claiming, oh, the First Amendment is enabling disinformation, misinformation. And I'm like, yo, there's a reason for the First Amendment. Like, freedom of speech. The reason the founders of the country put, the freedom of speech there is because they came from countries where if you spoke your mind, you would get shot or imprisoned. That's why the First Amendment exists. And the Second Amendment is there to stop the tyranny of government. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, is there to protect freedom of speech. Several thousand people have been given prison sentences in the UK for social media posts where there was no explicit link to actual violence. But they just said it encouraged violence. I'm like, well, did anyone actually do anything as a result of that media post? Well, no. But they just... And then they have a prison overcrowding situation in the UK, so they're quite literally releasing convicted pedophiles and putting people in jail for Facebook posts. But where are the corrections for the legacy media?
Right.
If some broadcast media, they say false things all the time. But it's a one-way street. There's no rebuttal. There's no counter.
Right. Right. Who's apologized for being incorrect about what? Did Rachel Maddow ever apologize for telling everybody that if you get the COVID vaccine, you're never going to get COVID? It won't. The virus stops with you.
No, never.
Never. Yeah. No one ever. It's just. It was not true at the time. There was no evidence to support it at the time. It's pure propaganda. And she said it. The Russiagate hoax. For 3 fucking years, they said that he was Putin's toy.
Yes.
And that Putin had him compromised. The Steele dossier.
The Steele dossier was completely fabricated by a lawyer at Perkins Coie, who was paid by the Clinton campaign. Literally.
Crazy.
And still people think the Russia hoax is real.
There's no repercussions.
Yes.
No one had to apologize. Hillary Clinton never came out and apologized for that, and people still listen to her. The whole thing's crazy. Yeah. And it's all coming from the left, which... Growing up as a person who was in the left my whole life, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Same. I mean, I was on the left until like 3 years ago. Like we want to maximize personal liberty. I think we want to be kind to people. We want to have empathy, but it's very important to have personal freedom and a merit-based society. And the left wants to oppress your freedoms, especially freedom of speech, and they want to have a non-merit-based society, with race-based and sex-based preferences. And it's like, well, wait a second. No, we just want people to succeed based on their skills and their hard work. Yeah.
And they want to silence opposition. That's all it is. And the
100%.
fact that people can't see that and they want to call Trump a fascist. The whole thing is just through the looking glass. It's just.
I mean, it's like one hoax after another that they're perpetrating against Trump. I mean, like they try to call the rally at Madison Square Garden like a Nazi rally. I'm like, yo, there was like literally an Israeli flag in the audience. I think like a quarter of the speakers were Jewish. Like there were people of every race, color, creed, religion at that rally. Like, tell me what about that is Nazi?
No,
and yet it was portrayed as a Nazi rally.
Well, MSNBC, they literally showed video of the Nazi rally from 1930s and then compared it to the Trump rally.
Yeah, no, there was massive government interference in Twitter, but like Twitter welcomed it. That's important to all Twitter welcomed it. All Twitter was controlled by far left activists.
Yeah.
So they welcomed the government interference. They got paid by the government for it.
That's crazy. They got paid for their time, correct?
Yeah, they got paid millions of dollars for suppressing information.
So it's like time.
And a bunch of it was like flat out illegal. Like the FBI had this sort of magic portal into the Twitter system, but all of the communication in that in this portal was auto deleted after 2 weeks, which breaks federal FOIA laws. So we don't even know what was said because it was all deleted after 2 weeks.
Which is crazy because it's essentially like one of the most important forms of journalism is exposing government corruption.
Yes, I mean this is the weird thing. It's like the left used to be big on exposing government corruption, but once they control the government, they no longer want to expose the government corruption. I think it may be just like whoever's in power kind of doesn't want the other side heard, because as you pointed out, like the left historically, up until I don't know, maybe even 10 years ago or something like that, was the free speech party. The whole point of the of the First Amendment is like you do not trust the government.